Stronger, bigger, faster, more is not always better. A small, thoughtful gift is better than an expensive, begrudging one. An encouraging word in sincerity is better than heaps of flattery. Having a few nice items is better than a house full of junk. The answer to life is not more status, more power, more money. In fact, little is often better. And this is especially true in God's economy. Two stories of Jesus highlight that more is not necessarily better. Both happened while he and the disciples were at the temple. The first involved the chief priests, teachers of the law, and the elders. These religious leaders were influential and powerful people. Their position was meant to serve God and to serve the people. But they loved the status and the authority they had over others. Jesus was a threat to them, so they schemed to have him arrested. But this did not stop him from calling them out. He said, "Be on your guard against the scribes who love to walk about in long robes, to be greeted respectfully in public, to have the front seats in worship and the best places at parties." Then he went on to say, "But they cheat widows and take their homes, then try to make themselves look good by saying long prayers. They will pay for it in the end." These leaders were arrogant and kept others from following Christ. Spiritual pride remains detrimental to religious leaders today, and I hope that you have not encountered those who have tried to trip you up, those who took advantage, misled, used their influence in negative ways, manipulated. If you have been spiritually abused, this is not the way of Jesus. Over and over again, Jesus showed us the model of a servant. At critical moments, he took the way of humility, the way downward, becoming human, being misunderstood, dying on the cross. He chose the downward way, not just once, but over and over again. Humility isn't just about leaders, though. It's for all of us who are in Christ. Downward mobility with Jesus goes against my inclinations. It goes against the advice of the world surrounding me and against the culture of which I am a part. But pride is a sin. And it's difficult to recognize when it's held up as a virtue. Listen to 1 Peter 5, verses 5 and 6. "All of you, clothe yourselves with humility toward one another, because God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time." Jesus sat across from the collection box in the temple treasury and observed how the crowd gave their money. Many of the rich were making large contributions, maybe for a show, and one poor widow came up quietly, maybe a little embarrassed, and she put in 2 small copper coins, worth a few measly cents. Jesus called his disciples over for a lesson, as he often did, and said, "The truth is that this poor widow gave more to the collection than all the others put together. They all gave out of their wealth, but she from her hopeless poverty has given everything she had, even what she needed to live on." For the second time, Jesus dismisses the influential and the powerful. Instead, he honors the little and lowly, the humble and downtrodden. Jesus called attention to her full devotion, not the amount given. She and all that she possessed belonged to God. What is favorable to God is not valuables, but the heart. Over and over in the Bible, God chooses to use the small and humble. A widow's small jar of oil for making bread during a famine never became empty during the days of Elijah. A person in the wilderness eating insects and wild honey was the messenger to announce the coming of the Messiah. God spoke to the boy Samuel while he was in the Lord's service, and all the people knew he was established as a prophet. Surely, this tells us something about our own lives as well. We may have limited resources, be less talented, and have little money. It may seem like we're poorly positioned for anything special, but that brings us to our key spiritual insight. Of greatest value in God's kingdom is not power or status, but a simple life that is devoted to God. It is then that we become quite useful instruments in the hands of God. He opposes the proud, but gives grace to just plain humble people. And those, my friends, are words of hope. I invite you to pray the prayer below in the description box.